Speaker,
You're not Mkalipi.
in terms of some rule, can I take this question?
Please do.
Thank you. Honorable President, you know, this phone doesn't have a camera. You might want to start ordering it for cabinet members, because it will save us a lot from some of the embarrassing activities it doesn't have a camera. It can't even be hacked, this phone. Can I come maybe give it to you after, so you can have a model of what phones might be critical for honorable cabinet members? And anyway, I'm very worried about the criminalization of I'm very worried about the criminalization of the youth and the children. The fundamental question here is, what kind of a society loses control on its children? When they go into criminal activities, when they go into gang activities, what kind of a society sends police into students? It's a society that has lost the responsibility to educate those students. It's a society that has lost the power to prepare a future for this youth. So why don't we diagnose the problem properly? Because it's not one or two students that are stabbing each other. It's a phenomenon of gangs, of drug and alcohol abuse, signifying the failures of the last 24 years to properly run a society. Why should we be sending police to children? Why don't we send social workers? Why don't we create jobs for them? Why don't we give them proper qualified teachers who are going to keep them interested in education and not getting into drugs and alcohol abuse? I think it's a shame that our solution is to criminalize those kids.
Honorable Member.
Speaker, on a point of order, there's an incident which earlier on, when the Honorable Ndlozi was speaking, the Minister of Home Affairs was doing this. It looks like he's bringing his sponsor activities here in Parliament. Must not allow that here.
Honorable Shibambu, that's not a point of order.
Things here. Please.
Honorable President.
On a point of order, Madam Speaker.
Honorable.
Yes, Madam Speaker. May you please rule that the conduct of Minister Lindy by doing this pinky signal is very unparliamentary in view of the issue of the camera and the mouth issues. Thank you. Children are watching these proceedings, and for her to be doing like this, it's a very, very unparliamentary.
We'll deal with that issue later. Right now, I'd like to ask the Honorable the President to respond to the supplementary question by Honorable Ndlozi. Honorable President.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me immediately say, and this might surprise Honorable Dr. Ndlozi, that I agree with him. We should desist from criminalizing our children. We should rather...
Speaker, I want to check if the President agrees on the phone or what.
No, Honorable Malema, please. Please proceed, Honorable President.
I agree with Honorable Dr. Ndlozi on the issue that he raises about not criminalizing our children and looking at this problem as a societal one, and look at it more broadly as a problem that has to do with the society that we seek to build. And this is really the core of the problem. We need to ask ourselves, what type of society are we trying to engender and to build when our children are drawn into all these activities of violence? But more importantly for me, Honorable Ndlozi, is the role that we all have as parents. Because this is not a matter where, yes, after 24 years, we start pointing fingers at each other. Because the issue also is what happens at the base, at the foundation of the process of building that society, and it is in the home. It is our role as parents. What do we do with the children that Providence has given us to bring up? We bring them into this world, and how do we bring them up? Because that is where the real challenge is. And I saw it for myself, not only in Hanover Park, but all over. As you go through the length and the breadth of the country, you actually see the lack of real commitment amongst us as parents. So, Honorable Ndlozi, we should not be pointing fingers. I don't know where you were pointing your finger, either to the left or to the right, but we should remember that on this one, as you point one finger, all the three fingers are pointing at you, all of us. And if we say we should be ashamed, it should be all of us ought to be ashamed that we have children who either behave in that way in schools, but also children who drop out of school. As I spoke to a number of young people in Hanover Park, I found that easily more than 50% of those children I spoke to have dropped out of school after 9 years of schooling, and they are now just roaming around. It was broad morning when we were there, and I kept asking, why are you not at school? They've dropped out, and they're now susceptible to being drawn in by gangsters. But also in the schools themselves, as you say, we shouldn't criminalize our children. We should, yes, roll out more social workers. We should roll out more community workers, and they should be the ones who go amongst our children rather than the police. The police in the end, yes, they are almost the last line, acting as a preventative team that should be looking after society when the wheels come off. We as parents must make sure that we play our role to bring up children, and that is the type of society that we should build. And it is our collective responsibility. Honorable Ndlozi, it is your responsibility as much as it is mine to make sure that our children are well brought up and we ensure that they are not susceptible to violence in schools and drugs and what have you. So let us do the right thing as parents of our children in South Africa. Thank you very much.